ABC Sport on the Move.
Hello and welcome to the ABC's coverage of the 1987 Interdominion Pacing Series. This year, the venue is the delightful Addington track in Christchurch in the South Island of New Zealand. And 9 Australian pacers have made the journey across the Tasman to participate. 3 heats tonight, 3 more on Wednesday night and 3 more next Saturday night. And then the top 16 point scorers make their way into the grand final, which will be held in a fortnight's time. Well, in the first heat tonight, the nominal favourite for this year's Interdominion Grand Final, Master Mood, the locally trained horse who really has taken all before him since failing in last year's Interdominion Grand Final in Brisbane. But 3 Australian pacers in the first heat, and the most notable being the New South Wales trained Paleface Bubble, also the Victorian Alpine Fella, and from Western Australia, Prince of Princes. We picked them up in the first heat, and the New South Wales pacer Paleface Bubble is about to take the lead.
Paleface Double starting to breast up on the outside of him, about 2 away to Prince of Princes, the outside of Sir Elmer. Trident's in the middle, Gaelic Skipper the rail, 3 wide to Diamond Mooses, followed by Master Mood hooking onto their back. Round the bend into the straight, they were followed in the centre then by Reggie's Mate. Borana's well buried along the rail, a bit further back, Alpine Fellas at the tail of the field. Michelle Bromax deep along the rail. They race down through the straight now, just on 1,300 metres left to go. Down to the judge and Paleface Bubbles in front. Up on the outside, Prince of Princes, Australia 1 and 2 with a round to go. They were followed deep on the rail by Saucy Star. Trident's getting into a good spot on the outside of Sir Elmer, followed then by Gaelic Skipper, and just to the inside of that is Borana. Next to it is Reggie's Mate. 3 wide to Diamond Moose, losing a bit of ground round the showground bend. On the fence to Michelle Bromack with Placid Victor between those 2. And Master Mood is actually last back with Alpine Fella. They race to the back at good speed now. Just over 800 metres to run, and Paleface Bubble by 3/4 of a length from Prince of Princes sitting in the death. They were followed on the inside as they passed the 800 by Saucy Star. Well placed is Trident the outside, about a length and a half back on the inside Sir Elmer. A neck away on the outside of that then to Gaelic Skipper as they race down the back, is followed by Borana just easing off the rail at that point. Michelle Bromax shoots through on the inner. They race past the 600 metres. Master Mood is 2 lengths behind Alpine Fella, and Diamond Moose, he can't keep up with them. They race off the back now, just on 450 metres to go, and Paleface Double from New South Wales the leader. A neck away to Prince of Princes, the West Australian. Trident's right behind them. Saucy Star in the trail. Michelle Bromack 3 deep on the rail in Sir Elmer. Gaelic Skipper's under the whip. They were followed by Alpine Fella. Reggie's Mate over the outside and further out to Master Moody. 7 wide round the bend into the straight now, and Paleface Bubble for New South Wales in front, out in front by 2 to 3 lengths, coming clear. Paleface Bubble from New South Wales. Here's Michelle Bromack coming out of the pack, and further out Alpine Fella. Further in Prince of Princes, but New South Wales has won the first heat. Down to the post, Paleface Bubble, Alpine Fella shooting up for second. Michelle Bromack is third, followed home in by Prince of Princes. Master Mood put in a good run for 5th. About 5 lengths, Borana, Gaelic Skipper, Reggie's Mate, Sir Elmer, wider out Placid Victor. After a gap came Saucy Start, was followed home then by Trident, and Diamond Moose a distant last.
Well, they're stacked up like a rugby scrum as they turn for home, but in front and going well is Paleface Bubble, number 7 in the light blue colours. Prince of Princes, the West Australian representative in the red, is really struggling now, but look how Paleface Bubble's going. It's all over bar the shouting already, and they've got 200 metres to go. Paleface Bubble in front. The West Australian Prince of Princes is there. Fading on the fence is Saucy Star. Now coming well down through the centre is Michelle Bromack at this stage, but look at the run of Vinnie Knight on Alpine Fella in those yellow colours. He's storming home down the outside, far too late. Paleface Bubble's got it in the bag, an armchair drive for Michael Ilsley. Vinnie Knight on Alpine Fella comes in second, Aussie 1 and 2, and in third place 15 Michelle Bromack with Colin de Philippi, and very difficult to pick the fourth one, but it looks as if it might have been Prince of Princes, the West Australian, who held on after being parked all the way.
Well, a brilliant performance in the first heat by the New South Wales trained Paleface Bubble, driven by Michael Ilsley. What a run by Alpine Fella, the Victorian, driven by Vin Knight. And in third position there, Michelle Bromack. Well, to heat 2, and again, Victoria had a very strong representation. The second favourite for the Interdominion when the championship started was undoubtedly the brilliant Victorian Bag Limit, but also involved Queenslander Sunset Candios and the other Victorian Quite Famous. But most of the interest, as far as the Australians were concerned, definitely surrounded the two Victorians, Bag Limit and Quite Famous.
The lead, they're about 2 to 3 lengths now in front of Freightman, getting over on the outside, getting through behind them French Lord and Rolls Hanover. Almana behind those with Malaise. Skipperdale's got back in the field, about 3 to Bag Limit. He's got off the pace a little bit, and also pretty slow outs the other Queensland representative Sunset Candios. They pass the 1600 on their way round towards the bend into the straight now, and Jim O'Sullivan, he takes Quite Famous to the lead. Quite Famous in front now by a couple of lengths. Frangelico will drop in the trail. Cinnamon Jr. is going to be parked at the outside where he was in the TVNZ mile, followed by Freightman. Back on the rails, Dreaming Negre. They were followed over the outside of those. They raced through the straight by French Lord, and wide around in the track also. Now to Aeroplanes, getting a bit closer. Some of them unrecognisable. Skipperdale and Almana were next. They raced past the judge, and back in the field we've got Bag Limit 3 wide. Valaires in the centre and up against the rail of Sunset Candios. Round the showground bend they go, and Bag Limit very wide round that turn, and Midnight is going to let him go from the back, but he's going to be covering the field very wide out. They travel into the back, just under 1,000 metres to run now, and Quite Famous in front of the field by a length and a quarter. Frangelico enjoying a perfect trail, and Cinnamon Jr. beside it. Dreaming Negre eases off the rail, Rolls Hanover shoots through along the inner, then wider out to Bag Limit. They were followed by French Lord in the centre. Almana the rail, Skipperdale is trying to follow Bag Limit. In behind them, Sunset Candios. Freightman giving it away, doesn't like this stuff, and Aaron Blaze is pretty well back, and Malaise broke up, but down the back they travel 600 metres to run now. Quite Famous going pretty well for Jim O'Sullivan. He took time to have a look over his shoulder just to see where Bag Limit was, and here he comes. Bag Limit around the outside, 3 wide. Frangelico along the rail. Cinnamon Jr. starting to struggle. He's got up to it tonight, 400 to go. Then Skipperdale's going to be pretty wide out. Dreaming Negre in the middle. Rolls Hanover up against the rail. Round the turn for home now, and Quite Famous turns first. Bag Limit over the outside, a half a length away. They were followed in by Cinnamon Jr. retreating. Further out, Dreaming Negre. Frangelico's bending a little bit. Almana getting the run of the rail, and it's Quite Famous. Bag Limit. Here's Almana storming through, and wider out Dreaming Negre. Bag Limit in front, and Frangelico's coming again, and Dreaming Negre down the other. Bag Limit got there. Bag Limit, Dreaming Negre, Frangelico. They were followed home then by Sunset Candios picking up a bit of ground. Rolls Hanover, Almana died on its run. Looked a chance 100 metres out. Quite Famous did the same. Skipperdale nowhere. Cinnamon Jr. behind them. They were followed by French Lord, Aaron Blaze after a long gap, Malaise, and Freightman was last. A good race, but Bag Limit, Midnight's got there. No.
So there we are, 15, 1 and 2, and Bag Limit the winner. What a tough and strong performance that was. Vin Knight the driver, second Dreaming Negre, and third Frangelico. Well, after the race, Vin Knight was, well, he was in his typical sort of mood. He was rather casual when he was asked about his opinion of the track.
It's one of the best tracks I've driven on. I think the rain they've had on it, I don't think they'd be able to race on many tracks. Moonee Valley would cop the rain, but I wouldn't say Moonee Valley's as good as this track. They'll be listening back home. Where this goes back home, does it? It does. Well, I'll say hello to me wife and me little kids, and I'll send a cheerio to Mum back home. She's been pretty crook.
Let's be serious. And a bit early at the 1200.
Wait a minute. This is more important than that. And if they're watching at the moment, which they will be, then my cheerio back home anyway to the wife and kids and Dad.
Now, what about this early start at the 1200 metres you went there?
I never had no luck.
Well, there we are, Vin Knight, and, well, he's never short of a word, but isn't that lovely to see him talking about his mum and dad? And, of course, his dad, Bob Knight, is the trainer of Bag Limit and also Alpine Fella, who performed so well in that opening heat. Well, the third heat saw the star North Islander Luxury Liner involved, and also the star Victorian performer My Lightning Blue, who incidentally is going to be called Lightning Blue throughout the series. Also involved Town Royal from Queensland and Parlour Royal from Victoria. To the track, let's pick them up in the third heat, and the Victorian My Lightning Blue in the blue and cerise cross sashes is probably Australia's major hope of making it a clean sweep on the opening night of heats.
Just on 1,500 metres to run now, and as they come round the turn, it looks as though, I don't even think I can see or recognise the horse in front. I think it's Lord Louis, but they're really coated in mud, and Lord Louis the one in front. Lord Louis out in front by about 2 lengths now, and moving through into second place is Metal Mickey, followed by Spry Joker. He's landed up in third quickly. Here's Andronicus surging up on the outside, and wider out Luxury Liner's getting closer station towards the lead, and Luxury Liner, Brent Mangos, is gunning for the lead now. Lap to go, and he's got to the front. Luxury Liner goes round to the outside to head off Lord Louis. They go on towards the Lion Brown 10th bend, and round the turn they go. Andronicus running third on the outside. Metal Mickey stuck along the rail. There goes Lightning Blue, 3 wide around Skipper Vantar. Back on the rail, Spry Joker. Horizon getting a bit closer. Parlour Royal's lost its place in the fence, being passed by Captain Cavella. Laser Lad starting to go up from the back. Town Royal second to last, and last is Premiership. Down past the 800 metres they go now, and Luxury Liner in front. He'll be hard to peg from in front. Moving up to him, Lightning Lance, 3 wide on the outside of Andronicus. Lord Louis trailing the leader. Skipper Vantar next. Middle Mickey the rail. Horizon surging 3 wide. In behind them, Spry Joker. Captain Cavella on a forward move. They were pulled by Laser Lad. Parlour Royals off the rails. Back on the fence to Town Royal, and then last of all Premiership. But it's a bunched field round the far turn now. Just on 4:50 to run. Luxury Liner in front. Andronicus. Camp 3 wide as Lightning Blue out in the middle of the track. Horizon's tracked it at every stride. Lord Louis hugged the fence right behind the leader. In between the Middle Mickey, Skipper Vantar round the home turn. 230 metres to go now. Luxury Liner's going to be hard to beat. He's a great stayer. He comes out by 2 lengths now. Lightning Blue's being sooled along on the outside. Lord Louis battling away. Andronicus is done coming out of the pack as Town Royal. And back on the inside, Middle Mickey, but Luxury Liner's home for the money this time. And Luxury Liner down to the wire. They're closing, but it's all over. Flashing up in the centre, Lord Louis, and Town Royal coming home with a sizzling run. Then Middle Mickey and Lightning Blue couldn't keep it up, followed by Parlour Royal beating most in. Behind it, Premiership, followed in by Horizon.
So it's been a good night for Australia, but there we are. The North Islander Luxury Liner taking the third heat, brilliantly handled there by Brett Mangos. Second, Lord Louis, not the fly. And third, number 6, Town Royal, which certainly would have cleaned out the Queensland TAB this evening. So the first night of heat, certainly a good night as far as Australia's concerned. The eye-catching runs, obviously, Paleface Bubble in the opening heat, and the 2 Vin Knight pacers, Alpine Fella in that same heat, and Bag Limit. What a tough and strong performance in Heat 2. Join us again on Wednesday night when we'll have coverage of the next 3 heats in this year's Interdominion Championship at 20 past 11 or 25 past 11, and then again next Saturday night. Until then, have a good night.
ABC, bringing all Australians the very best in sports, covering over 50 sports and the most significant national and international events. ABC Sport on the Move.
Hello and welcome again to the 1987 Interdominion coverage, and tonight certainly conditions at the Addington Paceway in Christchurch in direct contrast to those which prevailed on Saturday night. You may remember on Saturday night it was very wet and very rainy, but tonight the track seemed to be in lightning fast order, and certainly we were in for some outstanding pacing from some of the champions of this year's series. And the first of the heats we're going to show you tonight is the fourth heat, and it involved certainly 3 Australians, but one of the more interesting runners happened to be Trident, one of the New Zealanders, and also Rolls Hanover, both of them requiring a very forward position to poll well in the points for Saturday week's grand final. Saucy Star ran well last Saturday night, but could he keep going tonight? And most of the Australian interest surrounded Prince of Princes from Western Australia and the outstanding Queenslander Town Royal. But really, all the interest surrounded number 11 from Victoria, Bag Limit, after his outstanding tough performance on Saturday night. Could he continue on and make it 2 wins in succession in the Interdominion? He's in the yellow with the red Maltese crush and the yellow sleeves.
They've passed the 1,600 metres now, and the West Australian in front, Prince of Princes, but Bo Rana and Peter Jones, he's let him loose and he's whipped up on the outside, and Bo Rana strides into the lead on the outside. In fact, he can't get to the front. Back to the inside, there's Tower. Here's Bag Limit. Look at him go round them, and Vin Knight lets the brakes off Bag Limit, and he scurries right round to the lead. Down the straight he comes, and it's Bag Limit by a couple of lengths now, running second, but 3 lengths back is the West Australian Prince of Princes. Bo Rana's going to be caught without cover. Saucy Star, the rail past the 1,200. On the inside, Reggie's Mate and Rolls Hanover the outer, then Almana and Sir Elba. Trident's back towards the tail with Malaz, and Town Royal and Gaelic Skipper the last 2. Into the back they go, 1,000 metres left to run now, and Bag Limit by about 2.5 lengths from Prince of Princes. Bo Rana having a tough run on the outside. Saucy Star, the rail. They were joined by Rolls Hanover. They raced to the 800 metre mark. They were followed then by Reggie's Mate and Almana. Trident next on the outside of Sir Elba, and 3 wide around the outside of those to Gaelic Skipper. Malaz is off the rail and trying to move up between horses, and Town Royal scurrying through along the rail. Down the back they travel. Just on 600 metres to go, and the favourite Bag Limit by about 1.25 lengths. Right behind him, Prince of Princes being shaken up by Anthony Butt, and Bo Rana level terms with him. And about 2 to Saucy Star. Under the stick now is the North Islander, Reggie's Mate, and can't find any more. And going around the outside of the 400 metre markers, Rolls Hanover. Trident's trying to follow that, and further up to Gaelic Skipper, then Malaz and Almana. Town Royal's bottled up on the inner, and Sir Elba last, and Bag Limit, he hightails for home. And Vin Knight, he's got the whip out. Can he last all the way to the wire? He's out by 2.5. He's come off the rail. Prince of Princes going through on the inside. Bag Limit, he's veering right to the outside under pressure, but he's well clear. And it's Bag Limit. Prince of Princes is down on the inside, and Rolls Hanover the outer, but Bag Limit's won it easily. He's out by 3 to 4 lengths. Prince of Princes, Rolls Hanover, followed by Trident. Then we had Sir Elba, Malaz, Gaelic Skipper and Almana all in a bunch. Followed home on the inside of those by Saucy Star, then Town Royal and Bo Rana, and last in was Reggie's Mate.
So a great start again to Australia as far as the second night was concerned. Bag Limit making it 2 wins from 2 starts at the Christchurch track. Prince of Princes, another good performance to finish second, and the New Zealander Rolls Hanover finished third. Well, 3 more Australians were involved in Heat 5, and it was probably the most competitive heat we've seen in Interdominion history, or certainly in the last couple of years. We saw Alpine Fella and Parlour Royal, 2 of Australia's outside chances, drawn in 3 and 4, but most of the interest certainly surrounded the horses drawn in 5 and 6. The champions from the North Island Luxury Liner and from the South Island Master Mood. Australia's other chance in Heat 5 was quite famous from the Jimmy O'Sullivan stable in Victoria. But really, most of the interest was North against South. Luxury Liner versus Master Mood. And could the South Island, the Christchurch pacer, win an Interdominion heat?
They were followed by Dreaming Nibre on the inside. Now getting some cover. Premiership Parlour Royal is 3 back in the outer. Well buried along the rail to Dreaming Nibre. Then Luxury Liner. Here's Kevin Williams hooking Master Mood to go up and around them. French Lord is down in the inner. They race their way down past the judge now. The pace is slackened a little. Alpine Fella in front, and Vin Knight, he looks around to see the challenge coming from Master Mood, and the crowd, they start to roar. Master Mood goes up on the outside of Alpine Fella onto the showground turn, followed by Dreaming Nibre. The inside then Lord Louis. Placid Victor 3 wide around those, is followed deep in the inside then by Skipper Van Tar and Premiership in the middle. Just under 1,000 metres to run. They were followed a bit further back by French Lord, and going around them quite famous. Parlour Royal's lost its place, and so's Luxury Liner. Michelle Bromack is next, and Diamond Moose is 3 lengths last, 800 metres to go. Alpine Fella down the back in front, and Vin Knight, he's keeping a watchful eye on Master Mood, camped up beside him, and quite famous is 3 wide. Dreaming Nebray getting a good run, followed by Placid Victor, Lord Louis. Skipper Van Tar 3 back along the rail. Parlour Royal 3 out around Premiership. They're in a tight bunch. Then French Lord, Michelle Bromack, and Luxury Liner, and Diamond Moose out of his class. Master Mood now trying to shake Alpine Fella, and Master Mood, he surges to the lead now. He's going to try to outstay them. 400 to go, and Master Mood by 2 lengths. Alpine Fella, Vin Knight's got the stick out. He's struggling. Round the outside comes Lord Louis. Placid Victor round the bend for home. Master Mood, he turns home in front. 2 lengths. Lord Louis chasing. Alpine Fella struggling. Placid Victor and coming long round the outside is Parlour Royal, and further up Luxury Liner. Master Mood, the crowd, they're roaring their hearts out. He's got 100 to go. It's Master Mood, he's clear. He's out by 4 lengths from Lord Louis, and flashing down the outside. And Luxury Liner may just have got up to take second off Lord Louis. Then we had Dreaming Nebray and Parlour Royal. Placid Victor, Premiership, French Lord is followed home by Michelle Bromack, and Skipper Van Tar, quite famous, Evan, and then Alpine Fella cut his own throat, and he's only scored a couple of points, and Diamond Moose has come home last.
Well, 3 New Zealanders, first, second and third. The South Island successful, Master Mood, the winner. Luxury Liner, what a run him. Certainly flew home to take second. And Lord Louis again polling good points to finish in third position. Well, after the race, the Christchurch milkman, Kevin Williams, was certainly delighted with the hometown favourites' form.
He's a good horse, and he just needed, the conditions right for him, and he was in with a good chance.
What made you move with a round to go?
Well, it was such a sort of a chopped and stop and start pace, and I felt we'd been pushed around enough, so we might as well get out there and get handy, because I know he can stick on pretty well, and he did tonight. But I think the run will improve him 100%.
And we can expect some good things again on Saturday.
I think so, provided the draw comes out in our favour a little bit and we get off the front line. He's a good horse, and he'll certainly give all of them a run for their money, even if he can't win it.
Congratulations.
I think you'll go pretty close to winning it. Master Mood, but what a run from Luxury Liner. Well, the 6th pacing heat, the third tonight, held in Christchurch, involved one of Australia's most outstanding chances for this year's Interdominion, Lightning Blue. But Skipperdale and Sunset Candios were certainly 2 of the best drawn candidates, drawn there in 3 and 4. And Lightning Blue, or My Lightning Blue as we know it here in Australia, certainly had to do extremely well in this particular heat to try and force his way into the final. But a lot of Australia interest certainly surrounded number 13, Paleface Bubble, from the Michael Ilsley stable in Sydney. Let's go to the track and pick them up in the 6th pacing heat of this particular championship, and let's find out how they actually pan out. Skipperdale is in front.
Metal Mickey, and just to the inside of Metal Mickey as they race their way down through the straight was Laserland, and Captain Cabela is pulled up, or practically pulled out of the race 200 metres away. Cinema Junior races them down through the straight. Now will have to go by 2 lengths from Lightning Blue in the trail, and Frangelico nicely held together third. Skipperdale's over on the outsides, having a bit of a hard run as they race to the showground turn. Spry Joker running 5th in the inside. Next to that on the outside is Freightman, followed by Sunset Candios and Aaron Blaze. Paleface Bubble with 3 behind it. Horizon, Metal Mickey and Laserland. Into the back they travel, 900 metres to go. And Cinema Junior by just over a length. Now Jim O'Sullivan, he hooks Lightning Blue off the rail to go up to be 3/4 of a length away. Skipperdale gets some cover, and Frangelico shoots up to trail Cinema Junior. About a length away on the outside, then to Freightman, and through on the inside to Spry Joker. A length and a quarter next, just off the rail on the outside is Sunset Candius. Down the back they travel. Aaron Blaze under the stick from Ian Cameron. Next to that is Paleface Bubble, then Horizon, Metal Mickey and Laserland last of the bunch. And they wheel off the back now, 500 metres to run. And as they race off the back, Jim O'Sullivan takes the lead. Over the outside, Lightning Blue now in front. Cinema Junior, Skipperdale is out to challenge. And they were followed a little wider out on the track by Sunset Candios and Paleface Bubble. The Aussies, they're starting to throw out the challengers. And round the home turn, and into the lead goes Skipperdale. It's Skipperdale by 2 now. He's coming away from the field. He's out by 3, 4. He's going right clear of the field. Paleface Bubble starting to storm home. Skipperdale now, he's starting to shut up and down the outside. Paleface Bubble, but Skipperdale is clear down to the post. Bubble getting to him, but Skipperdale sees it through from Paleface Bubble. Running third, Sunset Candios. Then Lightning Blue alongside of Metal Mickey Frangelico. It was followed home by Horizon. Hitting the rest, Freightman Laser Lad Cinnamon Jr. and Aaron Blaze. And remember, Captain Cavella pulled out.
So there we are. Well, of course, that's the result of Heat 5 there. Master Mood defeating Luxury Liner and Lord Louis there in Heat 5, but a brilliant performance by Skipperdale to take out the 6th heat. He certainly did it tough. He sat up on the outside of the leader and came away in the end, but some good performance in that as far as Australia was concerned. A great performance from Paleface Bubble, who flew down the outside to finish second, and of course we saw that very good run also there from Sunset Candios. So really, as far as the second night of heats are concerned in the Interdominion Championship in Christchurch, a good night as far as Australia was concerned. Paleface Bubble and Bag Limit virtually assuring their passages through to Saturday week's grand final, and certainly the challenges are going to be issued by the local favourite Master Mood, certainly back to form after his brilliant win in the Miracle Mile here at Harold Park early in November or December. He's certainly back to his best form, and Luxury Liner, also the other New Zealander, is going to be very difficult to beat on Saturday week as well. But those four seem assured of a passage into that grand final on Saturday week. Sunset Candios and Town Royal must also come into considerations as far as Australian hopes are concerned, as far as making their way through to that grand final. Somewhat of a surprise perhaps, but a tremendous performance from both of those horses, and of course on Saturday night we'll be back to show you some more action on the third night of heats. But let's quickly have a look at those top 3 point scorers before we go from tonight. Bag Limit, the only undefeated pacer after the second night of heats, and those two running second at the moment, Luxury Liner and Paleface Bubble. But join us again on Saturday night when we'll bring you some more action, then of course Saturday week for the grand final. Good night. Hello and welcome again to this year's coverage of the Interdominion Championship from the delightful Addington track in Christchurch in the South Island of New Zealand. Well, tonight it was the grand final of the Interdominion Trotters Series and also the final night of this year's Interdominion Pacers Series. And in the grand final of the Trotters Series, the brilliant mare Tussle was aiming for 10 wins in succession, and she had no troubles whatsoever in taking out. And there she is going to the line, winning easily by almost 2 lengths. Melvander second and West Ham finishing in third position. Well, to the pacing heats, and the first of the heats we're going to bring you tonight is the 7th heat, and 3 Australians involved in this, 2 of them certainly needing to score some points. The Queenslander Sunset Candios and also the West Aussie Prince of Princes needed to score some points to force their way into the final. Trident and also Premiership had to score well, those 2 New Zealanders, Dreaming Nibre, the New South Wales rep Paleface Adios carrying a lot of money and all of New South Wales hopes, and of course most of New Zealand's hopes, especially those from the South Island.